right here, now! How many times do I have to tell you to never ever?
Never ever?
Never ever!
Never ever?
Never ever leave the faucet running!
Blah, blah, blah.
Do you know how much we spend for our water bills, huh? Are you the one paying? Of course not. So please, do your part. It's just a simple task to turn off the faucet. My goodness.
A marvelous substance, flowing, rippling, swirling around obstacles in its path. Sipping, dripping, trickling, constantly moving from sea to and back again. Doom. An oasis, a mirage.
Water is essential for life. It is the medium in which all living processes occur. Water dissolves nutrients and distributes them to cells, regulates body temperature, supports structures, and removes wastes. About 60% of your body is water. We could survive for weeks without food, but only a few days without water. As far as we know, the Earth is the only place in the universe where liquid water exists in substantial quantities. Of the 2.4% of all water that is fresh, nearly 90% is tied up in glaciers, ice caps, and snow fields. After glaciers, groundwater is the next largest reservoir of fresh water. This is where aquifers are found, underlain by relatively impermeable layers of rock or clay that keep water from seeping out at the bottom. In the aquifers are recharge zones when infiltration occurs. Aquifers are refilled really slow.
Yung groundwater storage sa ilalim. Sa Metro Manila, yung aquifer natin medyo nasa critical stage, meaning nadideplete na. Nandito na tayo sa sinasabing parang inahalin tulad sa pagmimina. Nagmimina na tayo na yung tubig at hindi na nasasapatan ng yung rains na pumapasok, kaya nagiging mas malalim na yung tubig sa ground natin, especially dito sa Metro Manila. Pero overall, may mga critical areas din tayo sa buong Pilipinas, especially doon sa mga, kung alam niyo, urban areas, yung mas maraming tao, mga cities karamihan, na depleted na rin yung aquifer, like Baguio, Davao, Cebu, Bacolod. Merong portions ng sa Iloilo. May mga adverse impact nito, like yung papasok ang tubig alat. Pag nasa coastal ka, ang tendency nito pag nagwe-withdraw ka ng groundwater, na i-induce yung tubig dagat. Kaya pumapasok, so nagkakaroon ng saltwater intrusion. Tapos sa mga areas na malalambot, ang mga scientists sinasabi nila na nagkukos ng land subsidence. So sa mga sinasite ng mga geologists, yung Valenzuela, part ng yung Malabon, nagsisik yung ground. Walang fresh water supply. Tsaka mahirap ibalik ang groundwater supply. Ang movement kasi ng groundwater galing sa mga pinanggagalingan sa mundo. Mga hundreds of years bago replenish. So, mahirap na ubusin.
Rivers and streams come next in line, then lakes and ponds, wetlands after. The atmosphere is among the smallest of the major water reservoirs of the Earth, containing less than 0.001% of the total water supply.
Waters are polluted, which causes marine resources to be depleted, drinking water to be unpotable, and water table and aquifers to gradually sink. We are responsible for all this mess. But is it too late?
Now, let's look more closely at some of the important sources and effects of each type of pollutants. To be specific, the most serious water pollutants in terms of human health worldwide are pathogenic organisms. These cause waterborne diseases like typhoid, cholera, bacterial, and amoebic dysentery, enteritis, polio, infectious hepatitis, and schistosomiasis. Malaria and filariasis are transmitted by insects that have aquatic larvae. The main sources of these pathogens is from untreated or improperly treated human wastes, animal waste, and food processing factories with inadequate waste treatment facilities.
The amount of oxygen dissolved in water is a good indicator of water quality and of the kind of life it will support. It supports game, fish, and other desirable forms of aquatic life. Then how are we supposed to satisfy stomachs?
Water is also polluted by inorganic materials. These chemicals are released from rocks by weathering and are carried by runoff lakes or river to groundwater aquifers. Manufacturing, mining, and mineral processing activities can increase the influxes of these naturally occurring substances into the environment and locally increase concentration from harmless to toxic. Exposure to this chemical can lead to loss of sight, feeling, hearing, and even death.
The chemicals used in industries, even the things we use at home, like pesticides, plastics, pharmaceuticals, and other organic chemicals, also contribute to water pollution. Exposure to this can cause birth defects, genetic disorders, and cancer. A contamination of surface waters and groundwater by these chemicals is a serious threat to human health. These toxic organic chemicals in water come from improper disposal of industrial and household wastes and runoff of pesticides from farm fields and forests. Hundreds of millions of tons of hazardous organic wastes are stored in dumps, landfills, lagoons, and underground tanks, but these sites have leaked toxic chemicals into surface waters or groundwater.
Water clarity is affected by sediment. Chemicals in the abundance of plankton organisms is a useful measure of water quality and water pollution. Rivers and lakes that have clear water and low productivity has little nutrition, and those who are rich in organisms and organic materials are truly nourished. The plants grow with the help of the sediments and the nutrients found in the water.
Rivers have always carried sediment to the oceans, but erosion rates in many areas have been greatly accelerated by human activities. These sediments fill lakes and reservoirs and clog hydroelectric turbines and make purification of drinking water more costly. Sediments cover gravel beds in which fishes lay their eggs. Sunlight can't pass through the water for photosynthesis of plants, therefore oxygen levels decline.
Moreover, raising or lowering water temperature from normal levels can greatly affect water quality and aquatic life. Thermal pollution of water comes from electric generating plants and other industries that make use of cooling water. Some parts of the heat can be used productively, but the others go to its source, the stream. Fish and other cold-blooded organisms, including some microorganisms, can survive only within certain temperatures. This can seriously affect breeding numbers.
Cultural eutrophication can be brought about by increased nutrient flows, higher temperatures, and more sunlight reaching the water surface.
Yung tinatawag na ng mga water quality problems sa lake. Depende sa temperature. May mga stratification kasi dito. Kung saan kung mas malalim yung lake, nagkakaroon ng yung less ng dissolved oxygen because of yung action effect ng temperature at sunlight. So, pag yung nagiging mainit ang panahon, nagkakaroon ng poorer water quality. Isa sa mga lake eutrophication.
This increases bacteria populations and algae plants. The water becomes cloudy and unpalatable, and it leads to beach pollution, fish kill, shellfish.
With the explosion in population and economic development, the rate of water consumption across the globe has increased exponentially. Water shortage has been, and will be thriving as one of the grievous outcome of human activities. According to the United Nations, an average individual in technologically advanced nations uses about 100 to 260 gallons of water per day, while an average person in a developing country only uses 13 to 26 gallons per day, and even lower for areas where water is scarce. In addition, rich countries such as the United States and European countries withdraw more water for industrial purposes than for agriculture. In contrast, some developing countries together with South America withdraw more water for agriculture than for industrial purposes, as most of them have hot climates or rely on agriculture as their primary industry.
Spills occur in the coastal waters where marine productivity is concentrated. Unpleasantly, processed petroleum products reach the oceans, which may poison fishes and damage the feathers of birds when ingested or come in contact with, respectively.
Desalination is the purification of salt water. It is the process of removing dissolved salt from ocean or brackish water in aquifers. It is another way to increase supplies of fresh water. There are two most widely used methods of desalination: distillation and reverse osmosis. Distillation involves heating salt water until it evaporates and condenses as fresh water. Reverse osmosis uses high pressure to force salt water through a membrane filter with pores small enough to remove salt and other impurities.
Pag nag-desalinate ka kasi, especially dito sa ginagamit kasi ang desalination para magkaroon ka ng fresh water supply. Example, doon sa walang magamit na fresh water like yung mga depleted na yung water sources, example sa Cebu, nagkakaroon desalination. So ginagamit nila yung part ng yung seawater. Pero ito yung mga brackish water na yung napifilter muna yung salt water, hindi yung directly na yung salt water na galing yung dagat. So dumadaan muna sa sa tabi ng yung mga sand para napifilter yung salt. Hindi malakas ang concentration ng salt. So gumagamit ng mga special treatment like reverse osmosis para mawala yung salt content o yung salinity up to a certain level na pwedeng i-consume ng human.
The main causes of non-point pollution are agriculture, urban runoff, construction sites, and land disposal.
Did you know that a 4-minute shower uses approximately 20 to 40 gallons of water?
Did you know that a faucet that leaks 1 drip per second results in wasting 3,000 gallons of water per year?
Every time you flush facial tissue or other small bits of trash, around 5 to 7 gallons of water is wasted.
For us humans alone, the cheapest and most effective way to reduce pollution to avoid producing it or releasing it to the environment. This is what we call source reduction, soil conservation method, reducing materials carried away by storm runoff, recycling waste oil, minimizing the use of fertilizers and pesticides, and diverting runoff away from ocean through municipal sewage lines are of big help.
Primary treatment is the first step in municipal waste treatment. It physically separates large solids from the waste stream. Secondary treatment consists of biological degradation of the dissolved organic compounds. Tertiary treatment removes plant nutrients, especially nitrates and phosphates, from the secondary effluent.
Effluent sewerage is a hybrid between a traditional septic tank and a full sewer system. Another is to use natural or artificial wetlands to dispose of wastes. The techniques under water remediation include containment methods, extraction techniques, and bioremediation filtering sediments.
Ang nakakasiwa nito kasama sa kontrata ng mga concessionaire ng MWSS. Sila yung mag-implement ng sewerage system. Ito yung mga nakolektang mga domestic at saka yung mga water na dapat i-treat mo before itapon mo sa dito. May certain water quality na i-treat mo bago i-discharge mo sa mga dito. Hindi pa tayo nagkakaroon ng water shortage na marami pang available. Pero in case na meron tayong climate extreme climate condition na kung saan tubig mula na bibigay tubig sa mga reservoir na nakulan. Nagkakaroon ng water shortage kasi nabibigis yung pag-ulan during the binabantay ng gobyerno sa mga reservoir kung magkakaroon ng
During our interview in NWRB, Mr. Estroma said one line, a cliche, that still caught my attention. He said that water is life. Well, it is really true, plus the fact that Earth consists of 3/4 of water, we can imply that we are really dependent on it. We are really blessed to have this gift, for it is very essential in our life. We use it not only for drinking, but also in our livelihood.
Can you imagine life without water? Well, I can't imagine life without water. It seems mind-boggling, for we use and consume water every single day. What's more is that we pay for each bucket of water that we use. So there are 3 simple things that we could do as teenagers to conserve water. First is to turn off the faucet when not in use. Second, water the plants in the morning. And third, remember not to use the toilet bowl as your trash bin.
And now we are all aware of what has happened to our water resources. So what do we have to do? We must conserve water. Hey, are you even listening?
Yes, I mean no. I was asleep in the middle of your nagging.
Don't you dare talk to me like this.
Wait, before you continue, did you turn off the faucet, Mom?
No, because it is your...
Well, we hope you all enjoyed the show. Hope it was not anticlimactic. Now there's something we want you to know, and we don't want to sound didactic.